are we? Welcome to episode 12 in my series of videos on Zonal Marketing, a brand new model which uses the tactical lessons taken from football management to help you to understand, plan and measure your marketing activity effectively. I'm Simon Vincent, the marketing tactician, and in this episode, the fourth and final video that will focus on marketing tactics, I'm going to be exploring how to build a marketing mix that establishes customer loyalty and encourages growth through advocacy. Companies that can usually benefit from this form of marketing are those where product is in abundance or widely available and can therefore often be imitated, sold extremely cheaply and or bought elsewhere. In the digital economy, where product can be downloaded, streamed and sourced from and sold from practically anywhere, usually on a mobile phone, this is more pervasive than ever before. But the same logic applies to service providers. The knowledge economy, where consultants and agencies sell time and expertise, find that there is often almost no barrier to entry. How many people call themselves marketing gurus, for example? And because there is no physical good that can be vetted before purchase, quality control is tricky. In these environments, what matters from a marketing perspective is often less the product or service, although only companies with good products survive, of course, and more the relationships that are built by the company. In the case of service providers, some of the principles of good relationship building may appear obvious, but how to do that when your product is digital, for example? And what about when you aren't able to have a one-to-one relationship with every single client? This video will explain all using the example of Antonio Conte's Chelsea, Juventus and Inter Milan and their famously defensive formations as an analogy for how to build a marketing mix. If any of what's about to come gets confusing, have a look back over previous videos in the Zonal Marketing playlist. There's a link in the description where all will be revealed. The season before Antonio Conte joined Juventus as coach, the old lady had finished 7th in Serie A twice, an undoubted underachievement for a club with such a storied and successful history. In his first season, Conte took the team he'd represented as a player back to the top of the league without losing a game, and then won the title again in each of the following 2 seasons. In 2016, he moved to Chelsea and won a title there in his first year, despite being up against such tactical masterminds as Pep Guardiola at Manchester City, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, and Jose Mourinho at Manchester United. More recently, he returned to Italy to help Inter Milan to their first championship in 11 years, ending, who else, Juventus' run of 9 consecutive titles, a run that he'd started, of course. While the 3 clubs didn't play in exactly the same way, there were some commonalities, many of which Conte was pretty much single-handedly responsible for bringing back into fashion. One of the most prominent was the Italians' preference for 3 at the back, a formation trait that rose to prominence in Conte's home country in the 40s and 50s when managers like Helenio Herrera adopted the notoriously, perhaps slightly undeservingly so, defensive catenaccio style at the supremely successful Inter Milan team of the era. Traditionally, the 3 was essentially formed by having a midfielder drop into the centre-back position, creating space in front of him into which the most famous liberos, as this player has come to be known, famously and characteristically that they would bring the ball forward into that space. At Juventus, Conte had Leonardo Bonucci in this role. At Inter, it was Milan Skriniar. At Chelsea, he used David Luiz, who had actually built his game on the Brazilian tradition of the quarto zagueiro, a centre-back with more freedom to charge forward. This 3 at the back approach pretty much necessitates the second trait of catenaccio, which is the wing-backs. These hybrid defender-midfielder roles keep the width and, at all 3 clubs, have played a vitally important role in the team's attacking play. At Chelsea, Marcos Alonso and winger by trade Victor Moses fulfilled these roles. At Inter and Juventus, Kwadwo Asamoah played on the left flank, while players like Andrea Candreva or Stefan Lichtsteiner occupied the right respectively. Finally, in terms of catenaccio traits, all 3 teams had a powerful ball retaining forward. Think of Romelu Lukaku using his power and height to hold off opposition pressure for Inter, Fernando Llorente for Juventus, or Diego Costa at Chelsea. Their job was to be the old-fashioned target man, a player to whom long balls could be played and who could hold it up while supporting players joined in the attack. So what are the marketing equivalents of these essential catenaccio traits? Let's take them one by one with examples from leading brands. The libero position in the centre of defence was created through opening up space in the midfield. As such, what we're looking for in marketing is an example of an audience channel that can transition into a broadcast channel when in possession. And of course, the libero's central position in the park necessitates its marketing equivalent being a personalised and proactive channel in its approach. And for this, we can use the example of Spotify's Wrapped campaign. For those not familiar with Wrapped, this is a campaign that Spotify runs every year, providing a personalised playlist to every one of their subscribers through the app that details which tracks, genres and artists they've listened to most that year. On the surface, this is a defensive move. Their personalisation at scale makes every single customer feel valued, understood, and most importantly, boosts loyalty and reduces churn. However, what Spotify realised very early on was that the campaign had the ability to go viral. Let's face it, all of us have that guilty pleasure genre we listen to a few too many times. Or maybe we secretly know we stan over a particular artist a little more than we might like to admit. What happened very quickly was that subscribers would share screenshots with their friends via dark social, sites like WhatsApp, covertly advertising the company on Spotify's behalf and inevitably driving subscriptions. Nowadays, the shareability is hard baked into the Wrapped feature, with Spotify creating a suite of automatically generated yet still highly personalized graphics for every single user that are tailor-made for the traditional social platforms. Another example of a similar approach would be Netflix's spoiler foiler feature, first rolled out in 2013 to help Breaking Bad fans avoid tweets containing details of the season's finale. This was a huge benefit given the non-linear way in which customers use Netflix, which is to say that there's no appointment to view, the very convenience of which helped give Netflix an edge over traditional TV in the early days. This almost excessive commitment to catering to their subscribers helps these two companies retain customers even despite massive competition with very low cost points. However, as we've seen, because we all build our individual tastes in conjunction with communities and friends, this loyalty turns into advocacy, which fuels the company's growth. Clever, right? This is space creating, customer-focused content, usually considered to be best practice in the world of customer service, being used for commercial purposes. Moving on to the second trait of catenaccio, how do these hybrid defender, midfielder, wingbacks translate into the marketing mix? Well, the first thing to note is their width on the pitch. As we know from episode 4 of Zonal Marketing, width relates to the targeting of your marketing efforts. The wider you go, the less one-to-one, and the more towards mass marketing your efforts go. In this case, our wingbacks are practically hugging the touchline, indicating a very wide position in the formation. The marketing equivalent is mass market, practically untargeted advertising. This is great for awareness, but if not done carefully, can lead to a lot of wasted dollars as your message is being seen by people who aren't interested or can't relate to it. Spotify's response? A series of out-of-home advertisements in 2016 on London's Underground and other prominent locations with customer-focused messages that pretty much all of us can relate to. Example taglines included, "Dear person who played Sorry 42 times on Valentine's Day, what did you do?" And in a year of royal celebrations, let's just also toast the fact that someone made a playlist called "It's the Royal Wedding Tomorrow" 22 days after the wedding. Another ad told us the frankly scary fact that Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You is streamed nearly 400,000 times in the month of June. Again, these broadly targeted ads featuring customer-focused, space-creating content work perfectly for a company that essentially has no limit on supply and whose product exemplifies the long tailification of tastes in the digital age. Finally, Conte's catenaccio formation always featured a possession-retaining striker. The lesson for marketers: once you have your target customer's attention, you need to find ways of keeping them converting time after time, month on month, on autopilot. To do that, we need to make it as easy as possible for the conversion point to keep them. Think about it. If I had to approve my payment to Netflix or Spotify every month, would I do so every time? Possibly not. Maybe I might be going away on holiday in June and decide to skip a month of Netflix, as I don't expect to watch too much TV on the beach. However, the subscription function keeps me locked in and ensures I pay every month, no matter what. Now, though I've talked a lot about two essentially software as a service or SaaS companies above, this model can be applied to almost any type of business. For example, any service-based company, agency or freelancer can implement a direct debit function into their payment. Many B2C product companies are able to deliver a subscription service. Just look at the way that Dollar Shave Club completely upended the men's toiletries industry through doing things differently with their marketing, even with an admittedly inferior and cheaper product than Gillette. In summary, the problem that catenaccio marketing companies face is that they sell a product that is difficult to differentiate, can be sold extremely cheaply, and or is abundant. To counteract this problem, successful catenaccio marketers build a marketing mix that creates a huge amount of space, both in their broadcast advertising and in their audience management. That is to say, they appeal to their customers' interests, loves, and personality in their ads, rather than focusing on their brand, the lifestyle, the goods of Ford owners, or trying to differentiate the product. And at the audience level, they create space through personalizing and tailoring the offer directly to each customer. At the conversion point, it's all about holding them there for as long as possible. This is usually done through subscriptions, direct debits, and other forms of automated payments. For further reading on the topics and theories covered in this essay, I highly recommend reading Chris Anderson's The Long Tail and Jay Baer's Hug Your Haters. Okay, that's it for today. Check back here for a new video every week, each one explaining another part of the marketing process through a footballing lens. If you're enjoying what you're watching, please do like and comment, and while you're at it, why not tell your mates to tell their mates? After all, we all have a duty to share these things we know so that we may improve the lives of others. I am available for speaking gigs, training sessions, and client work. If you'd like to talk to me about any of that, you can do so by visiting x-cmo.com. In the next session, I'll be moving on to the subject of strategy and talking about how identifying the underlying traits of your business and your competitors can help you to decide which tactical approach will work for you. Until then, thank you for joining me for this episode of Zonal Marketing, and I'll see you next time.